everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, sharing with you another mixed media art journal page that I did with layered gel printing using the Sennilier Abstract Liners and some Stencil Guts. To do layered gel printing, you just keep putting one layer of printing on top of another on top of another. And if you want to make interesting different colored layers, these Sennilier Abstract Liners are really cool because it's just basically some heavy acrylic, heavy bodied acrylic in a little squeezy tube with a small tip. So you can draw and write and do all kinds of things on your gel plate with it and then pick it up, and then you've only covered a portion of your page. These pages are already gel printed with stencils or something. I don't know. It actually looks like I might have done some mark making, but anyway, they're old art journal pages that I needed to finish a book, and so I'm working on finishing up that book. I think they're from 2019. And all that I'm doing is just using the abstract writers and then also using like different tools like this catalyst tool to move the paint around on the plate. I also have these fun things that are called Stencil Guts. They're basically when someone makes a stencil with the laser cutter or whatever, it's the pieces that are left over. They just, they come out and they're the parts that you don't want anymore. Sometimes a stencil will be made that is a mask and a stencil, so it comes out as all one piece, but most stencils just have all these little pieces in them that come out. And my friend Peg Robinson sent this package of Stencil Guts to me, and I thought it would be fun to give them a try. So I just put some of the paint down from the abstract writers. I smoothed it out with the catalyst tool, and then I put the stencil gut pieces, some of them, just a few, over that paint, and they mask the paint, and then I get an interesting shaped layer. So as you can see, you can also make geometric shapes when you are using them. Just it doesn't write completely smoothly. It just gives you kind of a funky look. I'm working with two different pages from my journal and then a black text weight paper and a white text weight paper. This is just from my printer, and the black one's the same weight. I just don't know how you print something with a printer on black since the ink isn't opaque, I don't think. But I bought that black text weight paper to gel print with because it's really fun to have that black background start out. I bought a whole ream of it, so I was actually thinking of maybe making myself a little homemade journal that I could do some doodling with gel pens or something, since a lot of my friends are doing that. So one thing that I did notice with the Sennilier Abstract Liners is that the paint does dry pretty quickly, so it might maybe have a drying agent in it in addition to the acrylic paint. Of course, I live in Arizona, right? So it's dry as heck here. So paint dries on my plate really quickly. So if I'm telling you that paint dried really quickly, it dried quicker than normal, and maybe it would be fine for someone who lives, maybe someone who lives in a humid climate would think it was great because it's drying quicker. But I did notice that, like that gray paint, it dried before I really had a chance to pick it up. If that happens, you know what to do. You've seen me do it thousands of times, and I actually prefer gel printing by making my entire whatever it is on the plate, and it gets dry because I'm in such a dry climate, and then I pick the entire thing up at once with a light color or a dark color in some cases of acrylic paint. That's my general way of printing anyway, so it's not a big deal. But these little paints might actually, for someone who lives in a humid climate, might really be awesome. Made by Sennilier, that's a high quality brand. They weren't particularly expensive, and so I just got some sampler colors. There's a lot of colors. I didn't get them all, obviously. I think I got like a brown, a gray, orange, green, blue, pink. I think that's probably what I got, maybe. I tend to like the brighter colors, but I did get a brown, which is different for me. Like, what was I thinking? I don't know. But anyway, I have other ideas for what I want to do with these. That actually the first idea that came to me was not the gel plate. I had some other things I wanted to do with them, and I just hadn't gotten them out yet. But it worked great for this. And these stencil guts are just so fun when you're trying to make abstract patterns, which, by the way, it's Abstract August. If you're still making your abstracts, this one was inspired by the prompt layered, and I wanted to do some layered gel printing, which isn't often what I do, actually. A lot of people gel print like that all the time. I tend to do it the way that I do it, which is what I prefer, my style. But this was fun. I did throw in some other acrylic paints besides the abstract writers because I needed some other colors. Like I used that light blue, blue-green color, and I used some of this Naples yellow color, which is a real favorite of mine. When I put the Naples yellow on the one that started out with pink and now has a lot of black on it, it came out really cool. That made that one really super interesting. But I'm trying to do the book in order, so I finished the pink one first, and I'll finish the other one at another time. But it's really cool. That adding that Naples yellow on there just made it, for some reason, I don't know, it warmed it up and it just made it just really attractive to me. I'm not sure why, the combination of the colors, but they kind of remind me of graffiti because I am doing a lot of writing on the plate or drawing on the plate and making shapes that just kind of remind me of graffiti, which I was really, really into graffiti art and connected with some young artists when I used to live in LA a long time ago. It is its own art form. Not every kid who tags something is a graffiti artist, but there are amazing graffiti artists out there that do just fabulous murals, and it's all done with just spray paint. So it's can be really, really cool. But people just, I think, dismiss it because they're like, oh, that's just those kids and they're defacing property. You know, not always. Sometimes they're adults defacing property with really pretty art. So, well, what you gonna do? So I'm just continuing to add more layers. This one is this hot pink paint. I was trying to pick up the blue leftovers, and I ended up putting the hot pink paint on there, which actually became kind of a feature on my page. I decided to try to make some shapes using other paint. Should have got out the Dina Wakley paint, duh, because it has a little fine tip nozzle too. But I wanted to add some light back into these. I was they were getting very dark, and so I just put some paint on there, and then I used my catalyst tool to try to draw some shapes and lines with the catalyst tool as well, and it turned out cool. But I don't actually have a white. I should have got a white in the abstract writer. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I just I think I've got enough white paint. I don't need more white paint. But it would have been handy to have a white in the abstract writers from Sennilier. Then there was a lot of paint on that first print, very thick. So I just turned it over and printed it onto the white paper, and I got more of that white layer onto the other piece that now has pink all over it, and that was helpful too. Then I decided I wanted an area of the page to have some more gray, so I drew some lines with the gray, and then I drew some lines with the orange on the other one because I thought that orange should be something that really stands out on the background. Now my plate seems to be getting a lot of paint on it that's not coming up. So at the end of this, I cleaned the plate with baby oil, and it reconditions it and helps it to start releasing like it normally does. It was starting to just not want to release anything. So I left it out and didn't put it out in its back in its clamshell, and I might have actually let it dry out a little bit because that's the plate that I've had for 6 years probably. It's my oldest one, an 8x10. That was the very first one I got, and it's kind of yellowed over time, and I probably should keep it in its clamshell like a smart person instead of leaving it out. But when I leave them out, I use them more because then I don't have to go get it, you know. I guess that's my excuse for all the things I leave out that I should put away. It's not a good thing. So then I decided to use a little bit of collage, and I'm using the pieces, some of the pieces that well, you know, I had the black paper, the white paper. I'm using some of the black paper and the white paper that got printed up with layers. And I tore some of them in squares and layered that on, and then I punched out with a big punch some oval shapes out of the rest of the scrap of the piece I'd torn off, and glued some of those on. I'm just using Yoo-Hoo glue stick to glue them down. I love this glue stick. Every other glue stick, I was pretty infatuated for a while with the Elmer's Craft glue stick. I thought it was really great, and then I tried the Yoo-Hoo blue one, and it has not come up at all. I mean, it's been really great. So I took the advice of another person who art journals a lot, and they were right. That's the glue stick to use. So I've kind of gotten away from using my matte medium all the time, which is what I normally would do collage with. So I made some lines and circles and things with a jumbo jet pencil from Jerry's Artorama. This is a new toy that I have. It's a big fat pencil. It's charcoal impregnated with oil is what they call it. And then I also use my fine liner with white to kind of highlight what I was doing. And I still felt like that thing that I put in the middle that says intrigued. It's a punch out thing that there's 6 things on there, and I have no idea where it came from. No idea at all. But I thought that this piece was pretty intriguing. You've got all these different layers and shapes and colors, and your eyes don't know where to go. But I wanted your eyes to know to go to the intrigued, and that's the reason that I circled it, thinking that that would make it stand out. But I still needed it to stand out more, so I used my fluorescent pink paint, and I painted around it, and then I kind of made a sort of a plus sign shape that draws your eye to that piece, because it's kind of heavy. This abstract is heavy on the left, and I needed things to come over, needed your eye to be drawn. And I still thought it wasn't enough, so I put the lines on. So that's it for today's Abstract August piece. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up, comment, question, pin it, all those things. That's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.